In this presentation, we will compare the time complexities of deleting the first element of the linked list as well as deleting the first element of the array. So let's get started. Here we will first find out the time complexity of deleting the first node of the linked list, and that to a single linked list. I'm considering this particular example, and here you can see that head pointer is pointing to the first node of this list. In order to remove this node, I have to move this pointer towards right, and there must be some pointer which points to this particular node so that we can delete this node. After deleting this node, the resultant linked list looks like this. And here is the function which helps us in deleting the first node of the list. And you can see in this function there is no loop involved. So the time complexity is big O of 1 because these statements will take constant amount of time. Here we are just moving one pointer towards right, and that's it. We are freeing the memory for the node, and that is the only job we are doing here. So the time complexity is big O of 1, and this particular if construct will take constant amount of time as well. Now what happens in case of array when we delete the first element of the array? Let us suppose I have declared an array ARR which consists of 8 empty slots, and then I have declared these two variables n and I, and then with the help of this piece of code I'm asking the user to enter the number of elements, and with the help of this scanf function and this for loop I'm asking the user to enter the elements in this array. Let us suppose that user has entered these elements 23, 2, 5, 56, 32 and 54. Total 6 elements are entered by the user. This means that n holds this value 6 and I also holds this value 6, because after this for loop finishes its execution, I will contain this value 6. Now, obviously our target is to delete this element, right? If we want to delete this element, we have to shift these elements towards left. Isn't that so? That means we will replace this element by this element by this element, this element by this element, and so on. Okay. After shifting, this is how our array looks like, right? Here we have a redundant element as well. We have to remove this element as well. Now we can't remove this element, but we can ignore this element. How we can ignore this element? We know that n represents the number of active elements that we currently have in our array. Although there are 8 empty slots in the array, but user has entered 6 elements in the array, which is indicated by the value of n. So what we can do, we can just decrement the value of n so that we will create an illusion that there are just 5 elements in the array. If we decrement the value of n by 1, then we will create an illusion that there are 5 elements in the array and not 6 elements. So that is what we will do here. Here is the program which helps us in doing the same thing, and we already know what this piece of code does. Here I'm simply calling del first function, and here you can see in this del first function I'm checking this condition is n equal to 0. If it is the case, then there are no elements in the array is empty, right? If it is not the case, then we will simply run this for loop from 0 to n minus 2. Here we will shift all the elements towards left, and then we will return this n minus 1, that is one value less than the n. So here this n will receive n minus 1, and then we will run this for loop from 0 to n minus 1 so that we can print all the elements of the array on the screen. If we have 6 elements in the array, then after this function evaluation, n will contain 5. Therefore, this loop will run from 0 to 4. That means total 5 elements will get printed on the screen. If we have n elements in the array, then n minus 1 shifts are required, right? Here you can see in this del first function, this particular loop will take most of the time, right? It runs from 0 to n minus 2. There are total n minus 1 shifts required in this case. Hence, the time complexity in this case is big O of n. So, in summary, deletion in the beginning of the linked list takes constant amount of time, and in case of array, it will take order of n time. Okay friends, this is it for now. Thank you for watching this presentation.